With traffic getting worse all the time, it's not surprising that more people are living off the gridlock. By riding Metro, your commute is more comfortable, more sustainable, and increasingly more reliable. And with our rush hour promise on-time guarantee, if your peak commute is more than 15 minutes late, we'll automatically deposit a ride credit on your registered SmartTrip card. So visit WMATA.com/promise to register your card today.
Blog Talk Radio. You are live at the Literary Lounge with your host, Destinee D, bringing you the newest and the brightest of the literary world right to your ear hole. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, listen up, and learn something. This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The New Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in-depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned. And hello, and this is your host, Destinee D, live on WTLR Radio. And today's date is July 7th, 2018, and we are knee-deep into episode 10, which is the Literary Lounge, and we are live. And this is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. So each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We're just going to take out a few moments of your time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. Okay? So we have a few questions for our guest today. And our special guest is going to be none other than Robert Jr. And he is the author of the book Pimpin Preacher. And this book has been published by Transparency Library Publishing Company. And we have had the opportunity to have him on a couple of our other ventures that we have, as far as actually turning his book into a potential movie. And also we have a few engagements that we're going to be talking about today in reference to self-reform in the prison community, where we may be shooting a documentary on location. So we have a lot of things that we want to discuss today. So let me see if this is him on the line. Hello, caller. Is this Robert? Hello? Okay, so I'll take that as that just being a listener. So what we'll do is we'll give Robert a few moments to call in, and while we're waiting, we have some very important information that we need to pass along. Your girl Destinee D will be live on location in Washington, D.C. on July the 21st, where we're going to do the walk through Wakanda, and we're looking forward to that event. There's going to be vendors there, there's going to be art exhibits, there's going to be all kinds of goodies for the kids. They're going to have live African drumming and a whole lot more. So, with that being said, that's going to be a wonderful, wonderful event that we're going to have. Like I said, there's going to be vendors and everything there. So, we look forward to having everyone there. The Literary Lounge actually does have some tickets available. So if you're interested in getting a couple of tickets for you and your family, feel free to give us a call at 434-228-1168. And we can see if we can get you hooked up with a pair of tickets to this event. If you're interested and you're listening in and you have a question for the author of the day, then what we'll do is we'll get you to chime in by pressing the 1 number and pound if you want to be able to speak or ask a question. So right now, I think we have him on the line, so I'm going to see if this is him. Hello.
Hello?
Hi, is this Mr. Graham?
Yeah, hey, what's up, Queen?
How you doing today?
I'm blessed. Honored to be able to do this interview.
All right, well, let's dig right into it. So basically what we need everybody to know is, who is Robert Graham Jr.?
Well, first of all, let me start by saying that Robert Graham Jr. is presently incarcerated in South Carolina Public Correction. This publishing company and authorship was birthed out of the South Carolina Public Correction through a vision that I had from me and my agent, Deidre Cave, which is how I got started with a face being given to the name Robert Graham Jr.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into writing?
Sure. I took this creative writers class some years ago that was allowed to come into the agency called Emerald Writers Group, where two white females were teaching about writing and plots and storylines and details and characters and all these things. And but what really caused me to really aspire to be who I am now was I started to read urban novels by former incarcerated authors who've now since been released and have made great names for themselves and have became financially successful, like Wahida Clark, Terry Stringer, Terry Woods, and Vicky Stringer, Shyborn Adams. And so I said, well, if they can do it, then I can do it.
Right, and that's only right, especially if you have the mindset and the capability. And I understand that, when you're incarcerated, there's a lot of time that you can actually put into a craft and actually make it something positive. So first and foremost, I would like to applaud your efforts as to your writing career, because a lot of people, when they have time on their hands, such as yourself, they tend to think about, when am I getting out of here, or what can I do to pass the time and stuff like that. But you actually did something positive and found out that you have power in your pen to where you can actually put, potential pieces out there, and people will flock to your actual craft. So I applaud you for that. How did the Pimpin' Preacher actually come about?
I'll be honest with you, Destiny. I'm a PK's kid, born and raised in the church in the state of South Carolina, Florence County, more completely. And I saw a lot of stuff in church as a kid, with preachers, deacons, whoever was in positions of ministry, that really kind of prompted this story, Pimpin' Preacher, which is the movie is being worked on now to come out of Sundance Film Festival in Louisiana, by the way. And I think it kind of like unbeknownst to me, probably around 9 or 10 years old, was prompting and preparing me for where and who I am now, almost about to be 50 October of this year, where I saw the hypocrisy in all these preachers. I'm nobody's judge. This obviously is not a book to condemn. I'm not condescending. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm writing what I saw, what I experienced, and what I lived, even being a part of T.D. Jakes' ministry, which is primarily one of the greatest ministers in the earth, coming up under Wahida Bonner and Tappy Dollar. And these are the people that would get my tithes, people who I followed and believed that were representing the Creator until I started to study history and find out that, Christianity is a false doctrine. I started to do research, and so the title Pimpin' Preacher really came from me coming to the conclusion that we've all been duped and hoodwinked and rid 'em up in terms of what we hold to be true in terms of the Creator.
Right, and I'm so glad that you mentioned those aspects of religion per se, because a lot of times we do find that the preachers that are out here are literally pimping their congregation, and it bothers me to the utmost degree, because I see people who have to wait for the church bus to come pick them up because they've given tithes and they don't even have the money to buy a vehicle. And I've seen people who have given their last dollar and don't even have food for the following week. That's going to a whole nother church for their food pantry in order to make it from week to week. But you have the pastor or the preacher and his family with 4 or 5 vehicles sitting in their yard, multi-million-dollar house, food. They go out to eat, you know what I'm saying? And their congregation is struggling. And what really turned me off from a lot of the actual preachers that are on TV was the fact that I heard out of T.D. Jakes' mouth his own words, and he said that Jesus was the best product for sale. And that right there let me know that he was not in it for the biblical standpoint as far as bringing souls to Christ. He was there to market a product. And a lot of the preachers are there for that. They are there to market a product. These people have stopped their 9 to 5 and have become full pastors, time pastors, so that they can say that they're giving the congregation their full time. But what irks me the most out of it all is that you have these mega churches that require that you show them your tax return in order to know exactly how much your 10% of what you've earned for the year belongs to them. And it bothers me because I know that tithes is not money. I know that tithes is food, that you're supposed to store food in a storehouse, not money, because money goes in the bank, money goes in the treasury. They had those back in the Bible days. They didn't have money in the storehouse. They had food there. So technically you're supposed to take 10% of what you done bought from the grocery store and give it to the church. That's what you're supposed to do, so that when and if another member of the church is lacking, it's there. In times of famine, it's there. And, they have flipped and switched and changed so much of this information around to where once you are awoken, once you do know the truth, it's like, you look at them and you just shake your head because you know that they're not right. But at the end of the day, they have to give an account to every lie that they've told, every dollar they've stole, and the whole nine. So I applaud you for airing out their dirty laundry, to a certain degree, because it needs to be said, it needs to be dealt with. I mean, I know the creator is going to deal with it in his own due time. And believe it or not, he's plucking them off one by one, Bishop as long. I've seen, you know what I'm saying? I've seen them fall by the wayside time after time because the more I see them, the more they're getting exposed. You know, so we see them for who they truly are. We see them as wolves in a den of sheep. You know, and people are literally sheeple. They're following every word, and they don't know the truth. Now, there are those who know the truth, but at the end of the day, they're getting sidelined and sidetracked because they're having to wipe away everything that the people think they know and actually break them the real true bread of truth. So it's like you have a lot to cut away at. You have a lot to work on, and it takes an open mind in order to even receive the truth because we've been fed the lies for so long. You know what I'm saying? It takes you forgetting what you know in order to learn what you need to know so that your soul don't go to some place that it ain't even supposed to go. And I feel very bad for those who are still praying in Jesus' name and calling on Lord and God because that's why their prayers are not getting answered. They're being subjected to things that they wouldn't have had to if they knew the truth, if they knew how to channel whatever that they needed for their lives. You know, I feel bad for them. But I don't mean to take up all of your time, but because I really do want to get more into this book. We're going to take like one short break, and we'll be right back. And then when we come back, we'll go further into this book, okay? So I need you to hold on the line for me.
All right.
Okay.
Action. Pink Lily. Right here is all they need. Yeah. All they want. You know what I'm saying? Check. Seeing smiles, heard all the laughers. Call me Prophet Professor Jack the Giggles. In the end, after your mayor of charm, there's a new beginning. Mystic Messianic grab mics and burn phony rap flappers. Yakking, rapping, and tissue paper, wiping back cracks up. I'm a mover and shaker, no hustling, white devils and crack vials. Ross Daria, Lex flex like King Halley. Proper principles of practice, text by text. Snap next like exorcist guaranteed. All you need proceed, defeat this true substance. Continue to exit this from Babylon corruptions. Even all set to self and solo. I know who I am. I'm all you need in word and deed. On the up and up, not for the low. This is what you want, what you need, what you need. This is what you want, what you need, what you need. You are, I told you. Pink Lily. Real.
Then I wouldn't be me. I swear if I could blink my eyes, I'd disappear like Genie. I'd be the black new age, feed my super self Houdini. If everything was simple and the world could be that easy. I'm not anything that they need, anything that they bargain for. Consider me a beast, I'm eating beats like a carnivore. Greater and greater till I could gain an equator. I got haters on haters, man, they could check for me later. Pushing it heroin, the MC heroin. The way I beat competition is so unfair to men. Don't care for the ignorance, give the props where they need it. You can flow with the ink, be a part of be seated. Get in the line of fire, targeted to delete it. I'm what they call a murder weapon, can't be defeated. I fold you up like cactus, like I'm flat or depleted.
Beat the needy, real hip hop, really get what they want from the needy hard hits. Heavy bass from underground, lyrically official.
All right, and we are back, and we are live on the Literary Lounge. Today's date is July 7th, 2018, and we are here with our special guest by the name of Robert Graham Jr., and we are talking about his new book called Pimpin' Preacher, and it's got a lot of people stirring. We have a lot of feedback on Facebook about this book. We have a lot of feedback about this book on YouTube, so we're looking forward to hearing some very, very good information from this brother. And let's see if he's still on the line. Hello, Robert. Are you there? All right. Good. So what we want to do is we want to get a little bit deeper into the actual book. Can you give us a brief synopsis of the book?
Absolutely. As I said earlier, Pimpin' Preacher really is a story that really triumphs, if anybody is familiar with the Saints and Sinner series with Tawaja B. Henson and the First Lady and all those people. Actually, it's out before Saints and Sinners even started. Pastor Keesley initially started out in book one as a man by the cloth, and there was a deacon that he in New York with more game this time than the first time, who actually turned Pastor Keesley's church into a prostitution gang. Out of his car lot and out of his store, he used tyranny and blackmail to con the pastor into going along with his plight, because the pastor had a crooked accountant, two of them actually, named Days and Monica, that Rollo hired 10 years back to get pastor in front of filing his taxes and not paying off the loan.
I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty because I'm losing you, brother. Yeah, your connection is really, really bad. But we do appreciate.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you now. Okay, we hear you now.
Okay, hello. So a crooked pastor that's actually con and blackmailed into the deacon in the church, so that he can actually seduce the pastor's two daughters, Leslie and Sophia. This is one of the most dire and diabolical stories of church hypocrisy ever in the history of time. The stuff that goes on in the mainstream and social media with ministries that never get told about. It was a reality fiction novel. As far as I'm concerned, there's characters in it that conveys what I saw in ministry when I was in church, and still prominent what goes on even in ministries today. It's not to judge and condemn anyone, but it's to kind of like to show what it means to be a pimpin' preacher, because if any preacher would study history, then they would know that there's no such thing as Jesus Christ. So really a pimpin' preacher is really a preacher that's preaching a lie, not just with this story where the deacon Rollo and he's prostituting women in the church, and he's seducing both of the pastors, virgin Lord, Watson was privy to the whole plot, and Rollo was sleeping with her some years back, and she's trying to get him arrested because he got dirty laundry on her. It's just a whole tone of hypocrisy and Christianity. It's the stuff nobody wants to talk about. Everybody tries to cover up with the sin and all the fornication, adultery. This is a story where you see so much sin with people who claim to be righteous and claim to be people who are by the cloth that nobody talks about in mainstream ministry. And so it's indicative to what Pimpin' Preacher really is, because if you study history, if Keezer would have studied history, he would have known. He's going to come to the truth in Pimpin' Preacher 3 and 4 that's coming out next. He's going to start to have dreams from the Creator Yahweh, who's the true Creator. He's going to learn the name of the true Creator, and he's going to go back and confront his congregation that he was preaching lies, and that he's going to actually get into the aspect that Christianity is a false doctrine. He's going to give them the history of the church and how it was established by Constantine the Great in 326 AD. He's going to explain to them the truth about who the real Messiah is. So this is a story, even though it's a reality fiction story, you could say this is a reality. So you could say Because I promise you, 3 and 4 is off the chain.
I believe you. I believe you because, like you said, when your eyes are open and you actually do hear the truth for the first time, it's a lot of information to take in. Because when I first started finding out, because I had a master teacher that was teaching me all of the truths about different things. So it was like when I started hearing this stuff, I was like, wait a minute, you gonna have to give me a minute because like my ears are smoking, my brain is like on fire, and I'm taking in a whole lot of information. But the information that I was taking in was pretty much self-relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like it literally spoke volumes, even though that's not what they're teaching at the church. And my thing was, I find myself in this type of conversation more times than not, believe it or not, because I have people that hit me up on Facebook and say something about Jesus and Jesus that, and he's the only way and this, that, and the other. And I was like, do you know that the letter J is only 400 years old? So how could it be his name if it's only 400 years old and he's supposed to be dead for 2,000 plus years? So it's like, and then they're like, boo, well, yeah. So like they understand what I'm telling them, but at the end of the day, they have been brainwashed to the point to where they will accept nothing less than Jesus is the way, Jesus is this, and Jesus is that. And I'm like, Jesus could not have ever been his name. How can you have a letter that was only created 400 years ago in the name of a man who's been dead and gone for 2,000 years? It's like it's no way humanly possible for that to even take place. Now, I can say, Emmanuel, because that was his birth name, birthright. You see what I'm saying? But as far as Jesus, no. And I also try to get people to understand that, believe it or not, Jesus was an actual derogatory name that was actually given to him at the crucifixion. So when they called him Jesus of Nazareth or the King of the Jews, they was doing it as a mockery more than... It was absolutely mockery. Right. They was doing that as a mockery as opposed to lifting his name. They gave him a name that had no significance to his being. So, yeah, I mean, I break that down almost every conversation that I have with anybody that references God or Lord and this, that, and the other. I said, because you can't say Lord. And the reason being is because there are human people who carry the title Lord. So, with that being said, that's why he said those who cry, Lord, Lord, shall not enter the kingdom of heaven, because you're not calling his name. And, I try to break it down to people who are, not saying of the world, but, to make it more real for them. It's like, okay, if you go to a club and the owner and the bouncer, let's say Yahweh is the owner of the club, and Yahweh Shah or Yahushua is the bouncer, right? So how you think you're going to get in the club? You don't know the name of the bouncer. You don't know the name of the owner, but you think you can pull rank or pull, some strings because you say, oh, I know that dude. I know him. He'll let me in. But then when you say Jesus and you say Lord and you say God, they be like, well, we don't know them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Absolutely. That ain't the password to get in. So, and I break it down just like that, and they be like, that make a whole lot of sense. But at the end of the day, you have to know the truth in order to promote the truth. And a lot of these pastors that's out here, they went to seminary school. They went to theology school. So a lot of these ologies is just a study of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can make a class. I made a class on how to teach people how to use a Fiverr account. So if I can make a class and they can make a class, you're not really learning anything but what they're teaching. So to be told, if you don't find out the truth for yourself, that's why he says to study to show thyself approved, so that you know for yourself, you research it yourself, you know for yourself what the truth is. But then,
Absolutely.
after you find out the truth, you're obligated to tell the truth everywhere you go, every person you meet. When you see them saying the wrong thing, you're supposed to lead them in the right direction. And a lot of times, a lot of people, like I said, they're not going to take your word for it. They're not going to listen to you on that realm. They'll be like, well, I done heard that before, but that ain't what the Bible say. Then that's when you take their Bible. You literally take their Bible out of their hand and show them within their own word where the truth lies. And
right.
you know, sometimes that's what you have to do. Like, you've been walking around with this Bible for over 20, 30 years, and you haven't even read through the whole thing. So I know you haven't studied to show yourself approved. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, just common knowledge. Like I said, how the letter J is only 400 years old. You know, it wasn't even in the Hebrew language at all. It didn't hit the English language until 400 years ago. And you know, we have discussions about this all the time, and I think a lot of our downfall as far as people of faith is that we go with the ways of the world, and we follow suit of what the world does. Like, I just witnessed countless black individuals celebrating the 4th of July, and I'm like, why would you celebrate the 4th of July? I said, our brothers and sisters were still in chains, being murdered and killed on that day. I said, that ain't even got nothing to do with you. Like, the Independence Day that they're talking about is the white people who left Europe, that came over here and conquered the place, and it was celebrating their independence from Europe. It ain't got nothing to do with black people.
Not black independence.
Right. It's their independence from Europe, not ours, because we were still slaves. We were still being killed and hanged and raped and murdered. That has nothing to do with us. And what really killed me was a young lady that I was explaining this to. She said, well, I'm half black, so I guess I can still celebrate. I was like, okay, you're lost. It's okay. Stay where you're at. I know I won't be celebrating, and I can only account for me, because if I give you the truth and you like overlook it and think that it doesn't apply to you, or you know, things of that nature, you can't help everybody. Like, to a certain degree, they're gonna have to want to help themselves. They're gonna want to have to learn themselves. Like, once they get, and I learned a long time ago, once you get a taste of the truth, you seek the truth from then on. And then, like, when you hear a lie, you be like, that's a lie. I know for a fact that's not true. So what you're selling is false doctrine. And I can tell you that to your face. And it wouldn't be disrespectful, because at the end of the day, I have word, I have scripture, and I have proof to back it up. But to get off that subject, because I know I'm going hard on that subject, but this is definitely one of those subjects that need to be, you know, really discussed and really broadcasted, because like you said, there are pimping preachers out here who are all about the money. They're not about the word. They're about what they can do, what they can get, and things of that nature. And I've witnessed it. I've witnessed it firsthand. That's why I know that the Sabbath is on Saturday and not Sunday. You know what I'm saying? That was something that the Roman Catholic Church put together, because they felt like they were God here on earth, and that they had the power to change whatever that they saw fit to change. You know, it bothers me that humans think that they have the audacity to be greater than what he said that they were. You know what I'm saying? We are supposed to honor him and acknowledge him, not say that we have his power here. Now, truth be told, his children who are in his covenant, who are with him and under his wings, yes, we do have certain rights to certain privileges here. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he said. He would take care of his own. But at the end of the day, if you're someone of the world, if you're a Gentile and you're saying, I'm going to take what I want by force, I'm going to get this because I'm going to flip it, then you're not in the covenant. You're not of Christ or the Messiah. You're of the world. So, but whatever that you achieve in that manner, you shall lose in that manner. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't take nothing for them to order the preacher. Hence your book.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It takes nothing for them to get hemmed up with the law, especially when they're not right. You know, and I really applaud you for putting this book out there.
That's cool. Let me say I wrote this book out of experience, out of history, archaeological facts, ancient manuscripts, stuff that cannot be refuted. Anyone who reads Pimpin' Preacher 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, not only will they be reading or seeing a movie from a book that is inspiring and inspirational or give them their moment of pleasure, but they will be actually reading or viewing the truth. Because history, archaeological facts, and ancient manuscripts about how it's impossible for any creator to be named Lord, God, or Jesus. The archaeological facts, ancient manuscripts, and excavation is in the story. And I find it to be that marketing consultant out of Louisiana Sundance Film Festival with Nietzsche and all these people that Keith is rubbing shoulders with choose Pimpin' Preacher. I sent them copies of every book I published. They chose Pimpin' Preacher. And so that to me is confirmation from Yahweh that he's going to back this book because no movies have ever been done that I know of, Destinee, in the history of time, has been done representing the true name of the Creator Yahweh, Y-A-W-E, and the true Messiah, who looks like Yahshua, Y-A-H-S-H-U-A. And also getting into the fact that Sunday is a pagan worship. It is Pastor Keys getting ready to come and really just show enough to cause an upheaval in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where this story comes from, because he's going to start to have dreams and visions from Yahweh about how the world has been deceived with this false worship, this false doctrine, this false religion, man-made system that ain't got nothing to do with the truth, but the whole world following something that is clearly wrong. And so he's going to come back in this sequel. My fans survive this carnage. He's gonna live to tell the story.
Right.
He's gonna, so this character really is me. Pastor Keith, it really is me. I was a Christian one time. I followed the Roman Catholic Church. I followed Catholicism, Hinduism. I followed Constantine the Great. I followed the cross and this white Messiah, because that's what I was taught. That's what was going on when I was a kid. That was going on in the schools and the streets. That's what grandma, mama, everybody was telling this stuff. So it wasn't until I became accountable and man enough to look at this stuff and learn at 9 and 10 years old, this can't be the truth. You know, so and sequel year, absolutely. So this is not just a book or an urban novel. This is a book, even though it's consistently fiction. You can say it's reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's very relevant. I do give you that. It is very relevant because a lot of the things that was depicted in this book, I could not say that they would not happen in the church, whether it be 20, 30 years ago or prevalently now, because you have known pedophiles in the church. You have known drug dealers in the church. You have known drunks who tell their congregation, I used to drink every day of the week. I used to be high. I used to do this and I used to do that, but I don't do that no more because now I ain't got to because I got your money. And I ain't...
Hallelujah. Yeah, but, let me say this too. Let me just say this. That's why I walked away from Christianity. And again, this is not to judge and condemn. This is not a condescending interview in the book and the movie that's coming out. Is not to condemn anybody, because I was part of this plot before Yahweh opened my eyes. Probably using the church for my plight to seduce women and to allure women into compromised position. And I was preaching. So Pimpin' Preacher is a real conviction for me. It's a real cleansing of my soul. This is what nobody wants to talk about. TD Jakes ain't going to talk about all that whoring and hypocrisy and fornication, adultery, creful dollar. Them folk ain't finna talk about because it'll ruin their ties and their membership and all that. They not finna tell the truth because they preaching for money. I don't need no fanfare. I don't need members. I don't need support. I don't want nobody money. I can tell the truth. I was one time a Pimpin' Preacher myself, but something happened to me doing the aspiration of seeing that I was setting a false example, not just for the women that I was sleeping with in all these churches, but I was setting a false example for what the truth was, and I couldn't deal with that. I could run with the devil, and me and the devil could be friends, and I could sleep at night. But I couldn't go to sleep knowing that I was playing with people's souls, knowing I was teaching and preaching something wasn't true, and more than anything, I wasn't living it. One of the greatest hypocrites that ever could have walked the face of the earth was me. So Pimpin' Preacher, really, I'm real about it. I bear no bones. I don't try to hide. Pimpin' Preacher really is me. I was that boy. I mean, you talk about a man know how to get a woman undressed, know how to seduce a woman. Yeah, in the church I was doing it. Yeah, from one end of South Carolina to the next, North Carolina, Columbia. You talk about, I was that boy. And so Pimpin' Preacher really is me cleansing my soul and really putting it out into the world, to the public, for my fans and readers and everybody to recognize you follow what you want to follow, but you feel following something that's not the truth. One of my ways of penance, if you will, because nobody wants to deal with the truth no more. Nobody wants to study to show themselves approved unto Yahweh, work me not be ashamed, right dividing word of truth. We want to follow up grandma, mama, sister, brother, aunt, whoever taught us, and it's passing us on to the next generation. Pastor Keith is going to deal with this in sequels 6 and 7, because he's going to begin to tell the congregation in Atlanta, where the story came from, that we don't care about ourselves, we're cool, but let's not pass these lies on to our children. That's what Pimpin' Preacher sequels 6 and 7. Pastor Keith is going to get off the chain. He's going to come on hands. He's going to get some courage. He's going to get some heart. He's going to stop being a coward. He's going to get some power.
All right. So now that we know that there's multiple parts that's going to be coming out, we know what to look forward to. We'll be ready and able to actually be ready for these books to come out. So, being that we're on the last little leg of our show, I would like to get some information out to all of our listeners. So what we need to know is what's in store as far as Pimpin' Preacher itself, just a recap, and also where we can actually find your book.
What's in store for Pimpin' Preacher right now? We're working on, we're getting some trailers out, where anybody on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you'll be seeing these trailers that will be coming out promoting the financing of this movie, Pimpin' Preacher, for the Touchdown Festival. I was leaving out my marketing consultant right now is Keith Hooney, Strength Press. And then you can find Pimpin' Preacher almost any major platform, Amazon.com, Barnes and Noble. You can find it on any place where books are sold, hardback and softback, from what I'm understanding. But certainly you can find Pimpin' Preacher on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and so you can look to see what we got going on in the next week.
Okay.
Also, if you don't mind, Destinee, I would like for you to kind of like give our fans and audience what your take and spill is, because you actually published Pimpin' Preacher 2 and 3. Tell us what you think about the characters with Rollo and Agent Watson and Pastor Keys and Sophie and Leslie. Just a few minutes, kind of like, because you were in the inside school. Tell us what you think.
Yeah. So, like you said, I am on the inner scope of the actual book. So for parts 2 and 3 were very eye-opening for me, because I never would have thought that anybody would have been as bold as Rollo as far as tipping an actual preacher into allowing him to use the facilities of his church, particularly the church kitchen, to cook the coke and the drugs that they were hustling. So that right there, that kind of shocked me, because I was not expecting them to be that bold. As you know, I mean, anytime that the congregation is sitting there trying to hit a word and they catch a contact from what's going on in the back, that's a little bit rough right there.
Pimpin' Preacher, right?
Yeah. So I think that Rollo was one of the main characters who deserved rightfully what he got, because he swindled a lot of people and he did a lot of dirt, and a lot of times karma. I don't know if anybody still believe in that, but it does rear its ugly head at certain times when you least expect it. So just be mindful if you getting at other people. You can get got by the Creator Himself. So it's like you have to be mindful of those decisions that you make and how you treat people, because a lot of times they are angels unaware, or either they call on the Creator themselves. So and when they get reverted back, when your reaping is in session, you have to be mindful that those things are going to be taken care of. But at the end of the day, the overall book, as far as what I've read, parts 2 and 3, they were very, very interesting. There were places that were very heart wrenching. There were, certain situations where I literally couldn't edit for trying to read ahead. I had actually got into the book that much to where I was reading ahead of my actual editing. So I know that once someone has the opportunity to actually sit down and actually do read it, that they will first of all be mind blown at the things that all of these people were involved in. And then not only that, but they would be optimistic to know that there's better coming, at the very end, and with those other chapters that's coming up, to where they'll be able to get real information as far as the plus side of knowing who Yahweh really is, knowing who His Son really is, and knowing the truth about everything, and no longer being, duped into this thing that they call religion. I find myself a lot of times that they ask me, what church am I with, or what's your religion, and I'm saying I'm spiritual and nothing more.
Right.
I don't give a title to where I reside, because I don't go to different churches. You know what I'm saying? At one time, I was going to a church every week, 2-3 days out the week. But once I realized that what they were teaching and what they were co-signing was dead wrong, it was like, why do I want to associate myself with people who are not right? Because believe it or not, when I read that the Creator was coming to the churches first to find one without a spot or a wrinkle, I was like, wait a minute, I don't need to be around y'all when the wrath comes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm seeing the preacher sleeping with the deacon's wife. I'm seeing the deacon sleeping with the preacher's wife. I'm seeing the pastor having his side chick on the front row while his wife is sitting beside him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All of these different things was going on, and the sad part was that the congregation knew these things. You have gay pastors sleeping with the musician, the music person. You have all these different trashy type things going on in the church. You got the pastor raping little boys in the choir room. But these are real live situations, real things. Everything that I'm mentioning is stuff that's going on in these churches, and the congregation knows these things, and they still come faithfully every week, talking about, nobody's perfect.
That's crutch. Nobody's perfect. That's crutch.
Exactly. And I'm like, that doesn't compensate for your sin. You know what I'm saying? He said, go and sin no more. He didn't say, well, if you do it, ask for forgiveness, and then maybe later on next week, you might be able to get away with doing it again. That's not what he said. He said, if you're going to be with me, be all the way with me. Don't halfway straddle the fence. He said, be hot or cold, because if you lukewarm, I'll spew you out. So you have a lot of lukewarm individuals who go to church on Sunday, shake their booty on Saturday, do all this other kind of stuff where they think people ain't watching, but the Creator sees it all. My thing is, why do they keep playing? Why do they continue to keep doing what they're doing, knowing that they're not of the Word, knowing that they're not of what the Creator has put in place, the guidelines that He has said for us to follow? And what kills me the most is that you have more church people that's more vindictive, more hateful, more wrongdoing than the ones that's out in the street. I've seen hobos with more humbleness than the people in the church. And it's sad because most of the people think that they can go to the church for refuge, and at the end of the day, they only go in there for ridicule, they go in there for hatred, and they go in there to get got. That's all they're going to a church for nowadays. And it's sad that they can't even go to them knowing that they need help, but at the end of the day, help is not there. If it's not benefiting them, if it's not lining their pocket, if it's not making them look good, they're not interested. And it's sad that people don't have that opportunity and that people in the church are that hypocritical to where they feel like they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and treat anybody like anything because it's not them. They're not. It's okay because it's not them. But at the end of the day, when the shoe is on the other foot, I had the same situation happen to me not too long ago. The very person that just talked down to me, just treated me all kinds of dog wrong, you know what I'm saying, was the very one that I had to carry, literally pick up and take to bed. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you have to be mindful of who you talk to, how you treat people, because they can very well be the savior in your situation. And once they wash their hands of you, there's nothing you can say. There's no apology or recompense that you could ever give because you burnt that bridge. You've blown that bridge up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be mindful how you treat Yahweh's children because they can very be your destruction.
Let me cut in one quick, Destiny. What do you think about Leslie and Sophia, Pastor Keys, their two daughters? Do you think they were naive to Rollo's plight? Real quick.
No. Actually, I believe that they knew full well what was going on when they went into the situation in the realm that they went into, because both daughters both knew what kind of man he was, because the word had already got out there. A lot of times when you say, you know, that person ain't about nothing, they do this and they do that, you know what I'm saying, you already have an idea of what that person is about. But when you go beyond that person or whatever you've heard, and then you witness it firsthand, like when they got taken to his crib, when they showed up to his house, they knew way before they got there what kind of dude he was. You know what I'm saying? Granted, one of them was kind of naive about the fact that he was a deacon or whatnot, and she kind of went along with her sister saying give him a chance and everything. But after that first video that he played for her, that should have been a cue right there. Once I got out of his house and back where my folks is at, leave that fool alone. You know what I'm saying? Because technically, he don't mean no good by me. She had opportunities plenty of times to walk away. Just like the other sister, when she saw the video or whatnot, she had plenty of, she fought back, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, she succumbed to her injuries and things of that nature. So she did what she did because she had no other choice. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, a lot of different things took place, but at the end of the day, like, you have to factor in, you know, when you have somebody that's in your presence, they give off an aura. You know what I'm saying? You can see them sometimes if your third eye is open. You can see those auras around the actual people that you deal with and that you talk to, because it gives very strong signals. You know what I'm saying? Right. And not only that, you, like I said, people who know the person. And what gets me is that you have, like Maya Angelou said, if someone tells you the truth about themselves, believe them. You know what I'm saying? There's no need for somebody to lie on themselves. You know what I'm saying? If they say I'm a pimp and a hustler, you have to expect that that's what they are. Like, you can't just say, oh yeah, whatever, that's what you say. You know what I'm saying? But right. I'm pretty sure you're not. But at the end of the day, if he starts smacking you around and holding you out, you know what I'm saying? Who can you blame? Because he told you from jump that that's what he was all about. So if you acknowledge that and you heard that and you disregarded it, that's your fault.
Wow. Just for a few minutes, think about this. But he just about Pastor Keeley and Pimpin.
What did I think about Pastor Keaton?
Yeah, he just.
Well, I will say this. Pastor Keaton was one of those type of individuals who, like I said, went to theology school and was preaching the word and all of this other stuff, and was very, very naive, and that cost him everything that he knew. It cost him his kids, it cost him his practice, his ministry, all of his businesses. Because it only took one person to set him up, and Rollo set him up, and he knew that there was no way that he could have got the kind of money that he needed for the IRS unless he signed his life away to that drug dealer. So he did.
Wow.
And he made a conscious decision to do that. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that he was going to be pimped and hustled and drugged up. You know what I'm saying? He did make that conscious decision because he knew nobody was going to give him $8 million. You know what I'm saying? Who give him that? And then you had a man that was already ready with the money in hand, with a lawyer to back it up, and all these other arrangements he had made to make things squared up. The decision was made for itself. And a lot of times you have pastors that's like that. They'll say, oh, well, I'm stuck in this situation, but is this particular person that's going to help me out? Do I accept the help and then I'll be straight? And can I live with the actual consequence? See, he didn't know that by him accepting that money that it was a spiral down into what it did. He didn't know he was going to become a heroin addict. He didn't know both of his daughters was going to get snatched away from him. He had no idea he was going to lose all the businesses and stuff that he had. But at the end of the day, I find it very insightful that he found the creator within all of that chaos. And he was able to find himself on firm foundation to where he could make a difference and actually fix the situation. But I can't really get into all of that because we only got like 3 minutes left.
That's what's up.
But I truly enjoyed the book, and I really do look forward to the next few chapters that's ahead. Make sure that you drop all of your info so people can get in contact with you. So just in case if they want to purchase a book, meet your agent or something at an event or something like that, just drop all your information right quick.
Pimpin Preacher is available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and if you want to like our fan page, it's Grandma Writing Series Facebook page. We're also on Twitter at Grandma Writing, Snapchat, wherever you can find books on it, online. And we appreciate you liking our fan page and telling us what you think about this interview.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was Robert Graham Jr., the author of Pimpin Preacher 2 and 3. And we are signing off. And we really do appreciate you taking the time to be on the show with us today. It was very insightful, and I had a great time. All right. Well, you have a good day and stay safe, and we'll look forward to hearing from you again, okay?
Absolutely. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Take care. This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The New Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in-depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned.